Hey guys, it's Fida and today we're going to be making cinnamon rolls. You can also call them cinnabons. It's actually very basic and simple. All you have to do is make the dough, let it rest, and after that you're going to make the cinnamon filling, sprinkle it on the dough and roll it and cut it. That's all you have to do. It's pretty simple and I'm showing you all the steps and tricks. So without any further ado, let's get on to making it. First, we need to make the dough. For that, let's start by making the flour paste. And this flour paste is going to make the dough much more softer. For that, into a pan, pour in water along with all-purpose flour. Just put that in and mix it together. At first, it's going to be a watery mixture like this. But then we're going to put this over heat and heat it up until it comes to a thick paste-like consistency. And here, it's almost a paste and I'm just going to off the flame, set it aside for cooling. And this flour paste is going to make the dough much softer. Next, we need to make the yeast mixture. For that, here I've taken warm water. You want lukewarm water, do not use hot water, then the yeast will not activate. Into it, let's add in sugar. The sugar is going to act as food for the yeast to bloom. Then you can put in the yeast. After adding in the yeast, give it a small mix. Do not overmix, then the yeast is not going to bloom well. Once you've mixed it, let's set it aside for 15 minutes and you'll see how the yeast will start blooming and activating like this. I'm going to set that aside too. Next, in a large mixing bowl, I've taken 2 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. We need to pour in some melted butter into it. For that, just take a small pan, put in your butter and melt it. You don't need the butter to become hot, just until it's melted and then pour it into the flour. Into this, crack in 1 egg at room temperature. Next, let's pour in the bloomed yeast mixture. Add all of that in. As more liquid content, let's pour in buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, you can use milk. Then add in some sugar and salt. Then take your spatula and roughly mix it up until it comes together. And here that's done. The dough has come all together. Now into it I'm going to add in the flour paste. Actually, the flour paste was supposed to be added with the rest of the ingredients, but I forgot to add it in the beginning, so I'm adding it right now. You can add it with the rest of the ingredients itself. Again, just mix that up lightly and dump it onto your countertop for kneading. So first, when you're starting to knead it, you'll see that the dough is extremely sticky, but as you keep going and kneading it, it'll come to a soft consistency and the dough will no more be sticky. The more you knead it, the more water content the dough is going to absorb and it's going to become much softer and will not be sticky anymore. Here I've kneaded it for around 5 minutes and you can see that the dough has come really soft. It's not sticky anymore. Now you can stop kneading. Here you can see that the dough is really soft. Now make that into a ball and let it rest. So for resting, this is not like other doughs. All you need to do is rest the gluten for 5 minutes only. Do not let it rise for 3 hours and any more. All you need to do is rest it for 5 minutes so that the gluten just rests. So all you have to do is sprinkle some flour on the bottom so the dough doesn't stick, and then keep the dough on top of it, cover it with a bowl. Now just let it be for 5 minutes, and meanwhile we can make the cinnamon filling. Here I've taken a small bowl. Into it I'm going to add in brown sugar. So brown sugar is the main ingredient for this, and the cinnamon is just going to give it the flavor. Add in cinnamon, a nice amount of cinnamon. Then just for some color, we're going to add in cocoa powder. This is optional, you can avoid it if you want, but the cocoa powder is going to give it an extra taste. Mix that all up together, and here the cinnamon filling is ready. We can set that aside. Now after 5 minutes my dough is also ready. I'm just going to take the bowl out. You can see how the dough is not bouncing back, which means the gluten has rested really well. Now pick up the dough and sprinkle some more flour on the countertop. And this is a very compulsory step. If you don't sprinkle enough flour on the bottom, then the dough is going to stick and the cinnamon buns are not going to come out right. Now you have to start rolling the dough in a rectangular shape. And also make sure when you roll it, do not roll it too thin. It should be at least 1/4 of an inch thick. Only then will the layers come out perfect. So roll it around 1/4 of an inch thick, and it should be a rectangular shape. Once you've rolled it out, we need to spread butter on it. So take some softened butter and spread it onto the dough. Make sure you spread a really generous amount so that the layers can be seen properly. Use a butter knife and spread it on. After that, you can sprinkle the cinnamon sugar that we made earlier. Just sprinkle a generous amount on it. Do not add too much. If you add too much, then it's just gonna come out as a filling. Just use your hands, spread it and press it. After that, we can start rolling it. Start from one end. So the longer end shouldn't be rolled. The shorter side should be rolled. The shorter side of the rectangle should be rolled. Since we've sprinkled the flour on the bottom of the countertop, it should pretty much easily be able to roll. Now the roll is ready, we have to cut them, but before that here I've taken a baking pan. I've just buttered it on the bottom, a very generous amount of butter so that the cinnamon buns don't stick. Then the easiest way to cut it without making any smudges is to use a thread. If you're using a knife, then the dough is just going to smudge all together and the shape is not going to be seen properly. And when you use a thread and cut it, you can easily see the layers and they look perfect. Just use a thread, cut it and keep it onto the baking pan. When you lift it up, you can see the rolls and the layers there. Now continue doing the same thing until you've cut all of it and keep it onto the pan. And while cutting it, make sure to leave around 1/2 inch space between them. That it's done, I'm going to cover it with a saran wrap and keep it aside for around 1/2 hour to 1 hour for resting completely. And after it rests, you can see that it will rise and the buns are going to start sticking together, just like this. Now that the Cinnabons have rested really well, I'm going to keep this into a preheated oven for baking. And once you've baked it, take it out and you'll see that the cinnamon buns are totally ready. You'll see how soft the buns are. They're super simple to make, also really delicious and soft. And today I'll be showing you 2 fillings. These cinnamon buns are good as it is, but in case you want, you can use some extra filling. I'm also going to be showing you how to make the cream cheese filling and with the icing sugar. You can see they're very soft. And the cinnamon layer, the cinnamon and sugar layer, it's very soft and delicious. Now let's see how we can make the toppings. first we're making the icing sugar glaze. For that, take a pan, into it add an icing sugar and enough milk, maybe around a tablespoon or half a tablespoon. Give that a nice mix and keep it on top of the flame. Let it come to a boil, then you can off the flame and the sugar glaze is ready. You can pour this on top of your cinnamon buns for an extra glazing and sweetness. And there, it's ready. Next, we're making cream cheese frosting. This is a very common topping for cinnamon buns. I've taken butter and cream cheese. This is homemade cream cheese, that's why. Then mix it up together and bring it to a creamy consistency. Then gradually add in the powdered sugar little by little. Mix it and the cream cheese filling will be ready. The cream cheese frosting is ready. Spread this on top of your cinnamon buns and it's ready to be eaten. So I hope everybody tries this recipe out. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Also ring that notification bell so that you get notifications every time I post a new video. Thanks for watching. Love cooking. Bye bye.